What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've got more Yu-Gi-Oh! News for the, what is this called? Perfection Pack, Premier Pack. What is this called? I can't even remember what this is called. What is this called? We got the, hold on, Premium Pack. There we go. Premium Pack 2020 for the OCG. This is where they kind of import some manga slash, maybe anime. I don't think they're anime. They're mainly manga cards, as well as support for certain archetypes, so it's very, very cool. You get some nice support sometimes. Sometimes it's not so good. But we got some interesting cards here today. I already took a brief look over these, and we're going to be looking at what we got new going on. So let's get started off with Telus the Little Angel. Okay, this is a level 3 light fairy effect monster with 500 attack and 500 defense. You can only use both of its effects once per turn each. First effect reads, if this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you can special summon a Telus Wing token, which is a fairy light level 1/0/0 token. Nothing crazy, but that's actually pretty nice. Honestly, that's a nice little, okay, link fodder this off, normal summon this, Almirage, get a token, boom, there's 2 monsters. If you play Link Spider, boom, make Link Spider, boom, Verte Anaconda. This card's a 1-card Verte Anaconda. Honestly, could be worse, you know? Okay. And the second effect reads, if you control a Telus Wing token, you can banish this card from grave and 1 spell card from your hand to special summon 2 Telus Wing tokens, but you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except from the hand. So you cannot summon from the extra deck, you cannot summon from the deck, you cannot summon from the graveyard, you literally can only summon from hand. It's not too crazy, unfortunately, but I guess there probably are some cards that are like, tribute to monsters to special summon this card from the hand. I guess they could come up there, but mainly that first effect is actually not too shabby as far as just being like solid link fodder for sure. Definitely keep that in mind. Next up we have Level Resist Wall. This is a normal trap card you can only activate once per turn. Its effect reads, if a monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you can target one of those monsters as cost. Special summon any number of monsters from your deck in defense position whose total levels equal the level of that target, but their effects are negated. So I don't really see this card seeing much play, at least competitively, right? It requires something to be destroyed by battle or opponent's card effects. You can't even destroy your own stuff to trigger this. Then you have to summon something, and the stuff you summon gets negated. So I just think there's too many stipulations here. It's a little bit not free-form enough. If it was a little bit more free, maybe summoning from the deck like this could be something interesting, but unfortunately here I don't think it makes the cut. But it's an interesting card nonetheless. Next up, we have Infernity support. Whoo-wee. Scary, actually. Actually scary. Like, Infernity could be a really scary combo deck. So here we have Infernity Sage. He's a level 2. That's what he looks like. Level 2, Dark Fiend Tuner. Tuner, that's pretty nice. Effect monster with 400 attack and 800 defense. You can only use both of his effects once per turn each, and his first effect reads, during your main phase, you can discard your entire hand. Okay. That's kind of crazy, especially in something like Infernity. Dumping your entire hand makes all of your Infernity effects able to resolve, which is pretty good, and I think some of their effects actually trigger when they're discarded as well, potentially. I can't remember if they trigger on discard. I don't think they trigger on discard, but I think they do all just like get you bonus effects once you have no cards in hand, obviously, so that's actually pretty nice. Second effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send 1 Infernity monster from your deck to the grave, but you must have no cards in your hand to activate and resolve this effect. That's pretty good as well, getting you an extra Foolish Burial. We all know Infernities have some graveyard synergy. I think this card's kind of crazy, actually. It's a tuner, so it gets you into certain synchro plays. It discards your hand, which opens you up to a ton of extenders that the deck has access to. And yeah, I think for that reason it's pretty good. It's also important to note that this discards by effect, so this could actually be potentially like Dark World support, even Fabled support as well. I believe it will trigger both, which is pretty cool. So very interesting card, and it's all combined into a tuner. Anyway, our next card here is Infernity Pawn. This is a Dark Fiend effect monster, level 1 with 0/0 stats. During your draw phase, if you have no cards in your hand, you can banish this card from grave. Instead of conducting your normal draw phase, you can do one of these 2 things. You can either place 1 Infernity card from your deck on top of the deck, or you can set 1 Void spell or trap card directly from your deck to the field? Huh? Huh? Interesting effect for sure. Definitely interesting. So this card's definitely really interesting. So I know he doesn't do anything crazy and he has to be on the field to do these things, but if he is, he really is kind of interesting because you get to either stack your deck or set a Void Spell or Trap. Void Spell or Trap, I didn't know Infernities had synergy with Infernoids. But this is just straight up like Infernoid synergy right here, right? You do have to have them on field for your draw phase, and maybe that's the downside here, is it's not just once per turn. You can either stack your deck or do this like during your turn. It has to be on draw phase, which means you probably have to have him on field and last all the way around to your next draw phase, which is kind of hard to do in 2020. So I don't know how applicable it is, but it is interesting support for sure. I think definitely the winner here is going to be your Infernity Sage. He definitely seems like he has more potential, but this card's definitely interesting for sure. But that's it for the Infernity stuff, and moving to the last stuff, and probably the most exciting stuff. We have 1, 2, 3 different fusions, fossil fusions, which is so clean. We saw the new fossil monster in the last video, and this time we finally have more fusions revealed because the deck needs more things, just period, and these things will help, you'll see. Okay, so first off here we have Fossil Machine Skull Convoy. It's a level 8 Earth Rock fusion effect monster with 2100 attack, 1800 defense, so not huge to be honest. Its materials are any one rock monster in grave and one level 7 or higher monster. Now what's interesting here, I believe Fossil Fusion can just banish from grave anyway, but I'm not, hold on. I want to look it up because I want to make sure I can understand this right. So let's look up Fossil Fusion. Let's look this up. I want to make sure I have everything straight here, okay? Fusion summon one fossil effect check by banishing fusion materials from any graveyards. Okay, so it does already banish from grave. I was going to say, if it didn't already allow you to banish, it does allow you with this one. But you can banish your monsters from grave if you want, which is kind of nice. So it just takes any rock monster, which is very easy to do in the deck, and a level 7 or higher monster, which is fairly generic, but I like that it can banish from either player's graveyard. So, you know, just looking over matchups like Fleur de Lis, if you're playing... what's it called, Virtual World, and they put one of their Synchro 9s in grave to like detach off Calamities, you can banish that. So there's a couple like meta like matchups that'll give you the opportunity to do this, but other than that, you got to set it up yourself. He must first be summoned with Fossil Fusion, and his effects read as follows. While this fusion summon card is in the monster zone, your opponent, all monsters your opponent control lose attack equal to their defense. That's actually a good bit, depending on the monster. I mean, look at him. He literally goes to 300 attack. It's pretty small. That could actually be something decent. Also, he can make up to 3 attacks on monsters during the battle phase. That also is kind of clean. Definitely. Also, it doesn't say different monsters, so it doesn't say like or attack each monster, which means even versus something like Dogmatica, right? They can't be destroyed by battle by extract monsters, but they had Ecclesia in attack mode. You could summon this. I believe Ecclesia would make herself 0, which is really funny, and you could literally go 21, 21, 21. Because it doesn't say attack each monster once. It just says 3 attacks on monsters, period. So that's actually kind of interesting. That kind of works a little bit new. And the last effect, when this card destroys a monster by battle, you can inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. Just a little bit of extra bonus damage, not too shabby. He's a fine card. I think he's a little bit reliant on the battle phase, but man, he definitely has a ceiling if he resolves in the right situation. If you like Dark Ruler or what's the other one? Forbidden Drop at your opponent, and then in a way they can't respond, you just turn off their whole board, and you just make this guy and just go run over, run over, run over. You actually could OTK some decks for sure. So definitely an interesting card. I don't know if it's playable entirely, but we'll see. Next up, we have Fossil Machine Skull Wagon. It's a level 6 Earth Rock. 1700 attack, 1500 defense. Way even smaller. 1715? That's pretty small. He requires 1 rock monster in your grave and a level 5 or 6 monster. So a little bit more specific. I think 5s or 6s are just not that popular in Yu-Gi-Oh! But okay. He must first be summoned by Fossil Fusion, and his third effect is a hard once per turn. First effect reads, you can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during the battle phase. Okay, just 1 less than this guy. Second effect, when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict 800 to your opponent. Okay, it's just 200 less than this guy. And the last effect, you can banish this card from your grave, then target a spell or trap on the field and destroy it. Now that is actually a little bit more interesting because we have Fossil Skull Warrior, who I believe banishes himself from grave to pop a monster, but this pops a spell or trap. So that's actually a lot, gives you an extra little bit of utility. Maybe he's a one of in the extra deck just because you might play something like Dogmatic or some other engine that helps you dump some of these extra deck cards to the grave just to get those bonus pops, those removal effects. But I think it's a one of probably at best, so it's fine, but it's not amazing. And the last card here, and the most important card we've talked about this entire video, is Fossil Machine Skull Buggy. I love its design, the Triceratops. It's a level 4 Earth Rock effect monster with 1400 attack, 1200 defense. It is not big, it is not huge, but that's not the point. He requires 1 rock monster in grave plus a level 4 lore monster, so the easiest one by far to set up for Fossil Fusion. If you get hand trapped by an Ash, a Veiler, an Ogre, a Ghost Mourner, anything level 4 or lower, DD Crow, Skullmeister, this card can be live as far as getting that extra material from your opponent's side. He must first be summoned by Fossil Fusion, of course, and his second effect is a hard once per turn. The first effect reads, when this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict 600 to your opponent. Woo! Who cares? The second effect reads, you can banish this card from your graveyard, as cost, to add 1 monster that specifically lists the card Fossil Fusion in its text from your deck to your hand, and that is what makes this card particularly interesting. It searches every main deck monster that lists Fossil Fusion in its text, which I believe is the soldier guy as well as the new guy, the shell warrior new guy, and they're actually both decent. I don't think either of them are terrible as long as you have a way to send them. You just need a way to send them with a card effect, I believe, and they will get you a trigger to get you even more searches. So this card is very nice engine card. This opens the potential for something like Foolish Burial Goods, Extra Foolish Burial, not Foolish Burial. Extra Foolish Burial, stuff like the Dogmatica engine with Maximus to just dump these cards, get free searches, just keep going. What else? Gives you the potential for playing like, I don't know, Diviner, Gale Dogra. There's a bunch of cards that actually become much more viable in this deck because of this. Because not only are these, like, dumping these cards just removal now, it's actually a way to get back into your engine. And that's the really cool part there. So, definitely psyched about this card. I think he's nice. I think this card's nice for the potential back removal as a one-of. And this guy could, I guess, theoretically come up to, like, push a lot of damage, clear a couple monsters. But I really think that's about it. But definitely cool to see. I really hope we get more Fossil stuff. I hope this isn't everything. Hopefully we get like some spells and traps too. We got the new monster and now 3 new fusions. I'd love to see a couple more spells and traps on top of it. Maybe that's greedy of me, but I'm still into it. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, let me know in the comment section down below what you think on all these new cards. Are these new cards, like, are they in there? Are they in there like swimwear? What's good? What's bad? Let me know down below. I think they're all interesting. I'm excited for the Fossil cards, excited for this Infernity card, and I think that this card's actually interesting for just giving you that extra link fodder, for sure. But we'll obviously see on that. But that's going to do it for me here. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet, and you want to see more news updates in the future. I got a ton of deck profiles coming, guys. I'm just waiting for literally like 1 shipment in the mail, and I'm going to have like 4 deck profiles ready. I've been working really hard on them, and I hope you guys like them. But I'll see you in the next video. I love you. Peace.